These are this afternoon's top stories. Police investigate another shooting incident. Guyana beefs up Board of Defense and Shell Company to quit explorations in Alaska. Good afternoon and welcome to the ZIZ Mid newscast. Today is Monday, 28 September 2015. I'm Carla Barrage. In national news, the local police force is seeking the general public's assistance in finding the culprit or culprits responsible for the Sunday night shooting of Imran Christopher. Reports reaching ZIZ News indicate that Christopher was shot in Cayon at about 9:21 p.m. He is currently warded at the Joseph N. France General Hospital, where he is undergoing medical attention. Meanwhile, units of the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force, the Drug Squad, and the Criminal Investigations Department this morning executed a search warrant at a particular premises in the McKnight area. During that search, ammunition was found. As a result, 3 persons were taken into police custody. This evening, ZIZ will host a special edition of the Roundtable featuring members of the board and staff of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation taking an introspective look at the company's operations. The panel will feature ZBC's chairman, Douglas Watley, Deputy Chair Avanis Jeffers Thompson, board member Lester Hanley, and Assistant General Manager Veer Galloway. The discussion will be led by General Manager Clement O'Garrow. Dialogue begins at 8 p.m. on ZIZ Radio and television. The St. Kitts Teachers Union will join the Caribbean Union of Teachers in celebrating teachers during an annual week of activities from October 3rd to 9th. The activities, which start on Saturday, will see the Federation's teachers worshipping at the Bastia Seventh-day Adventist Church, followed by an address by Minister of Education Honorable Shaud Richards and the launch of the I Love Teaching video. On Sunday, the teachers will worship again, this time at the Sandy Point Methodist Church. Monday the 5th, which is officially World Teachers Day, also dubbed Teachers Appreciation Day, will see special assemblies in schools, retired teachers awards, and a panel discussion on meeting challenges in the classroom. The 4th annual Education Consultation on Parent Involvement and Engagement in Education takes place on Tuesday 6th. On Wednesday, new teachers will be recognized at a cocktail reception, and on Thursday 8th, the 4th Annual Excellence in Teaching Awards will be hosted by the Governor General at Government House. The week's activities culminate on Friday 9th October with an exhibition and on the education sector at the Independence Square and the St. Kitts Teachers Union Annual Match and Rally. The annual Teachers Week activities will be held under the theme Empowering Teachers, Building Sustainable Societies. Regionally, in the continuing Guyana-Venezuela border controversy, Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, GDF, Brigadier Mark Phillips, has said that GDF will remain resolute in defending and defining Guyana's territory. This report from HGPTV in Guyana.
On Tuesday, news broke of a buildup of Venezuelan armed forces at the Guyana-Venezuela border. Guyana's government took notice of this, and President David Granger said it is felt that Venezuela is treading a dangerous course rather than seeking a peaceful resolution of the matter. During the weekly post-cabinet press briefing, Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, Brigadier Mark Phillips, said Guyana has been keeping a keen eye on Venezuela for the past week.
But with the noticeable and unusual deployment over the last weekend of not only military troops, over 200 troops were deployed, as you know, between San Martin, the small town on the border, and Coco Island.
Brigadier Phillips pointed out that the Guyana Defense Force is also concerned about the deployment of ground-to-air missiles in the border region.
However, what is unusual is the deployment of military boats with machine guns in the Cayuni River. And I wish to state that the Cayuni River is inclusive of Guyana's border. To deploy armed boats in the Cayuni River is an affront to our sovereignty. And this was reported to our Commander-in-Chief.
As the Defense Force continues to monitor the situation, the relevant international agencies have also been notified. Further, President Granger is set to attend the United Nations General Assembly shortly, where the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy is to be discussed.
Being ready to deploy additional troops and equipment, if need be, to those locations.
After American oil company ExxonMobil recently made a significant oil find at offshore Stabroek Block Essequibo, Venezuela began to make claims to the area. For HGP Nightly News, I'm Erica Will.
In the Bahamas, Progressive Liberal Party's chairman Bradley Roberts is suggesting to his government to consider implementing a curfew in crime hotspots in an effort to curb criminal activities. Bahamas, as of yesterday, Sunday 27th, recorded its 112th murder. More in the ZNS News report.
Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Bernard Nottage, responding to the proposed curfew recommendation made by Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Bradley Roberts recently. With 112 murders already for the year, Dr. Nottage says there is no real method that one can suggest that he hasn't either come up with or considered to utilize in the war on crime in this country.
Everybody has a solution for crime, and everybody thinks that their idea can work. We have to go a little deeper than that. We have to look at where these methods have been used, how successful they've been, which of them are appropriate for a country like the Bahamas or an island like New Providence. And so curfews are something that we have considered.
Dr. Nottage says a curfew for the island of New Providence, where most crimes are committed, is not the only method that has been considered to decrease the high level of crime.
We've considered gun amnesties, we've considered lockdowns, we've considered a lot of things. And some of these things are in fact being carried out without announcing them to the public. But there has been no decision about curfews.
Internationally, in Catalonia, Spain, pro-independence parties win a majority in local elections described as a mock referendum on independence. Nevertheless, independence remains a distant prospect. An agreement will have to be reached between the two main pro-independence parties in order to secure that absolute majority. The central government in Madrid has promised to fight tooth and nail to prevent secession. More in this development.
Celebrations in Barcelona as pro-independence parties win a clear majority of seats in Catalonia's regional parliament. In what was billed as a de facto referendum on splitting from Madrid, the acting regional government head and a fellow separatist leader vowed to declare independence within 18 months.
Ha guanyat el sí.
Tonight the yes voters won, but democracy's also won, and that's very important. Two victories in one, the yes and democracy.
I la democràcia.
Having this legitimacy with a high turnout and an absolute majority in the parliament, and having more citizens voting for independence than against, we have all the requirements with no excuses to accomplish this democratic mandate given to us by the Catalonian people. Together, the main separatist alliance, Junts pel Sí, and the smaller CUP party won 72 seats in the 135-strong assembly. However, they still polled less than 50% of the vote. Analysts believe the most likely outcome of the election will be to force a dialogue between Catalan and the Spanish authorities, a reporter in Barcelona says. Exceptional and historic results that measure the strength of this independence process and ask several questions about Catalonia and the rest of Spain just 3 months before a general election at the end of December.
Royal Dutch Shell said earlier today that it will stop exploration off the coast of Alaska for the foreseeable future. The decision came after the Burger J well, a geological structure which the company drilled this summer, produced disappointing results. The company said the well had found indications of oil and gas, but these are not sufficient to warrant further exploration. We hear more.
Royal Dutch Shell will cease exploration in Arctic waters off Alaska's coast following disappointing results from an exploratory well backed by billions in investment and years of work. The announcement was a huge blow to Shell, which was counting on offshore drilling in Alaska to help it drive future revenue. Environmentalists had tried repeatedly to block the project and welcome the news. Shell has spent upward of $7 billion on Arctic offshore exploration, including $2.1 billion in 2008 for leases in the Chukchi Sea off Alaska's northwest coast, where an exploratory well about 80 miles offshore drilled to 6,800 feet but yielded disappointing results.
Taking a look at the weather. Temperatures are expected to peak at 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are blowing from the east-northeast at 4 to 8 miles per hour, becoming lighter and variable at times. Seas are moderate with waves reaching 4 feet. In the weather summary, skies today will be sunny to partly sunny, and tonight conditions are expected to be cloudy. Showers, if any, will be light and brief. Sunset for today is expected around 6:05 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow will be at 6 a.m. That brings us to the end of the ZIZ Mid newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Barrett.